The city of Fort Smith is a step closer now to hiring a new city administrator, even as some push to change the city's form of government, meaning the position could be eliminated if the change is approved by voters. Thanks for joining us for your 5 News at 6, on air and streaming on 5 News Plus. I'm Darren Bobb.
And I'm Morgan Wrigley. 5 News reporter Jada Daniels spoke with Fort Smith city leaders as the search continues.
Smith leaders hired a firm to recruit candidates from around the country to be city administrator. But some who call the city home are looking to give the mayor more authority and eliminate the city's administrator role entirely.
We've got major issues going on, and I think it's important that we have leadership.
Hutchins says the group has already gathered nearly 4,000 signatures in support of the change.
3,800 signatures right now, but we're trying to put this on the ballot in November so that the people can decide. You know, there's nothing more important in our republic than the people deciding their form of government.
The measure reaches the ballot and passes. The city administrator position would eventually go away. But City Director Neil Martin says the city still needs someone to fill the role now.
The board has got to at least move forward with, even though there's some unknowns that are going on. All these candidates are aware of what's going on, and they're aware that if this were to pass, or 2 years down the road, they wouldn't necessarily have the position.
Martin says the candidates understand the situation, and the board is ready to find someone to lead the city's day-to-day operations.
Anytime you have a leadership change, there are potential challenges associated with it. We're hoping to make a decision that will be positive, beneficial for the city of Fort Smith, and we need somebody to execute on the vision that the board of directors has set out.
Martin tells me the 3 candidates will interview in Fort Smith on July 30th, and the board will make a hiring decision soon after. In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Jada Daniels, 5 News.
The city administrator position has been open since the board voted unanimously to hire Carl Gefkin voted unanimously to fire Carl Gefkin in the role of December of 2024. The firing came after a controversial remark heard on a hot mic during a board meeting. Deputy City Administrator Jeff Dingman has served in his place since then. Gefkin was hired earlier this month, by the way, as the city manager in Forest Park, Georgia.
Well, what'd you think about the weather today? That front slid through last night, and all day long I've had this scene on my mind. From Con Air, you remember Nicolas Cage tasting freedom for the first time, just enjoying some of that lower humidity, slightly lower temperatures, all thanks to this fella right here, that cold front. Now, that cold front also brought in some wildfire smoke. You may be noticing that. We'll take a look at air quality in a moment. It's also going to keep what is Tropical Storm Bertha well off to our south. Here locally, it results in some nice temperatures by tomorrow morning as well. We're waking up in northwest Arkansas in the upper 60s, and dadgummit, that's going to feel nice and pleasant. Low 70s through the River Valley. Those low temperatures with some lower humidity makes for a really pleasant start to our Thursday. And by the afternoon, it's going to warm up much like what it feels like right now. We're looking at highs yet again, upper 80s, northwest Arkansas, low 90s in the River Valley. This is fantastic, but you better enjoy it while you can. We copy and paste today's weather into your Thursday. We got a low rain chance this weekend, but the big story is what's lurking now, just days away. The third heat wave of the summer likely starts to build into the area this weekend, and it may last quite a bit longer than the one we just got through with. We'll track that in your 7-day.
All right, Scott, thanks. A home often called the White House near the Fayetteville National Cemetery has been the center of complaints and court battles for years. Its homeowner, Richard Tiffany, has reportedly been renting out the house and its backyard to the homeless.
Tiffany is now facing a felony arson charge after being accused of setting fire to the property to collect insurance money.
5 News reporter Bo Russell has taken a closer look now at the home that's still the focus of a civil lawsuit.
Long before prosecutors accused 73-year-old Richard Tiffany of intentionally setting fire to it, the home on South Lieutenant Colonel Leroy Pond Ave had already become one of the city's most persistent problems. At a city council meeting in 2024, city attorneys laid out just how serious they believe the situation had become.
Between January 2022 and September 2024, the Fayetteville Police Department responded to the property 276 times. We've got stabbings, thefts, multiple drug charges, residents hitting each other with baseball bats, brass knuckles, stabbing each other with knives and screwdrivers.
The city says the property had evolved far beyond an illegal campground. It filed a public nuisance lawsuit, arguing the home had become a danger not only to the people living there, but to the surrounding neighborhood.
It had become really a detriment, not only to the people living on the property, but the surrounding neighbors and the public. And so that enables us to go to the court and ask the court for help.
City leaders say one fire on the property revealed just how dangerous conditions had become inside the home.
They've been ordered not to enter that structure, even if it is on fire. They're supposed to stand outside. And I mean, it's misfortunate, but we can't send our people into something that we know is unsafe.
Now, prosecutors allege Tiffany intentionally set that blaze to collect an insurance payout, causing about $370,000 in damage. While the criminal case moves forward, the city's civil case isn't going anywhere.
That case is currently set for trial in November. Our case is still ongoing. We have not determined how any recent charges will affect it. That will be largely up to the court.
I asked Hannah if the city had a response to those who wonder if Tiffany was just trying to help out the homeless.
Helping the unhoused population is always a completely laudable goal. You have to make sure that what you're offering is a safe, clean environment. These conditions were not in any way this.
Richard Tiffany is scheduled to return to court in August on the felony arson charge. The city's public nuisance lawsuit remains set for trial in November. In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, I'm Bo Russell, 5 News.
Happening this week in Washington County Court, a jury has acquitted a man of capital murder. Hugh Kane was charged in the death of 48-year-old Weston Miller. It happened in May of 2024. Defense attorneys argued self-defense during the trial. Kane had previously told investigators that Miller had threatened to physically attack him before the shooting took place. The family of a man who died in the Sebastian County Jail is now suing the county, saying drugs brought into the facility led to his death. Court documents say Fred Lee Kubel Jr. was held on drug charges when he was found unresponsive in his cell 3 years ago. He later died from fentanyl intoxication. His daughter claims 3 jail employees brought drugs into the jail and that they were not supervised. The county and employees named in the lawsuit have not been found liable, and no trial date has been set.
President Trump was at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware today for the dignified transfer ceremony for U.S. service members recently killed in the war with Iran. The president met privately with their families before saluting as their remains were removed from a military aircraft. 3 of the troops were killed in an Iranian attack on a U.S. airbase in Jordan. A 4th died while disposing of a downed Iranian drone in Iraq. Trump spoke on the ceremony at an event earlier today.
And standing there watching this sight, which is, it's very tough to watch, to be honest with you. Very tough. I think it's the toughest thing I do. If anything I do all this stuff, but I think it's the toughest thing I do.
The Pentagon identified the service members who died as 19-year-old Private Isabella Gonzalez, 28-year-old Sergeant Angela Rampersad, 25-year-old First Lieutenant Tyler Fian, and 30-year-old Sergeant Michael Swinton.